good morning, good afternoon, welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Kathrin Ebner. Kathrin is leading the events team at the Women in Green Hydrogen Group or Association. So welcome, Kathrin. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're going to be taking part. There's a Women in Green Hydrogen event next week at World Hydrogen Week in Copenhagen. We've obviously been working closely with the Women in Green Hydrogen Group since your formation. So I thought it'd be good to maybe have an overview, see how the association's going, and maybe discuss a little bit about some of the issues and get your perspectives from your viewpoint. So what are some of your thoughts about the group and the activities that you do?
Sure. Let me maybe get started to the people who don't know Women in Green Hydrogen to briefly introduce it from the beginning. So Women in Green Hydrogen is basically simply a network of passionate women working in the hydrogen sector. And what our mission is really, to connect and empower women to, make them heard and make them seen in the hydrogen space.
Yeah.
And this network started a couple of years ago, actually during COVID times, when during a virtual meeting, a group of some female hydrogen professionals came together and really had this common vision for women for women to be a key part of the hydrogen transition, and also for women to be able to really have a seat at the table and also get close and network within the hydrogen space. So I was not yet part of the group. I joined the network later, and so have many others. So now it's actually quite a large group, and from only virtual events, we went to events in many different locations, different time zones, lots of presence at conferences and other activities around the world.
Yeah, there's certainly a group. Do you know how many people you're up to?
So basically, what I can definitely tell you is how many people we have in our expert database, which is above 1,100 females now are registered. But when it comes to event participation, you don't actually have to be a full member of Women in Green Hydrogen. So for sure, we are reaching more people than that with the events. But in our network database, which I should mention is also freely accessible for event organizers, etc., to find women who are, who can talk, who can have speaker roles or panelist roles in the hydrogen space, and who have expertise in this space and are definitely worth being invited to events.
It's definitely a great resource, and one that we've used a lot here at World Hydrogen Leaders. In terms of some of the, I guess, the aims of the group, I mean, you mentioned sort of networking, and I guess there's sort of also, with that, there's sort of concrete mentoring and sharing experiences. And what are some of your thoughts around the value of being part of the group?
Yes, so I think really, the core aim is increasing visibility of women in the hydrogen space. And as I said, I like to use the phrase "make them heard" to really ensure that you have women also included in the discourse around green hydrogen. And, with that comes really promoting representation of women at conferences and generally promoting diversity. So excellent. Why do we need that? Maybe just to answer that briefly, in my opinion, it's really important in a field that is, needs to be innovative, to bring in new ideas, to have diverse viewpoints in this kind of sector of innovation that green hydrogen basically is. And what else? I mean, we are really, as I mentioned, trying to build a community here so that women have the opportunity to connect, to exchange, to also share their expertise. And I think we achieved that by several different activities, which I can maybe also share a bit. So
please do.
I will start it with what you already mentioned. So we are basically collaborating with event organizers and partnering, for example, also with World Hydrogen Leaders. And what we are doing there is really supporting the events on the one hand by really helping them, connecting them with female speakers and panelists. We share the aim of increasing the share of female participants. In 2021, it was in the low double digits, and now at conferences we aim for really 40% of female speakers with our event partners. So this is great. We have the database, as I mentioned, as a resource also that we are maintaining. And these are the activities and conferences that we are collaborating with, basically. Yeah. But also, in addition to that, we organize our own events. We have networking events, other exchange formats to really, allow women to strengthen the exchange there. Yeah. And last but not least, I should definitely also note the mentoring program. Mm-hmm. So basically, the mentoring program, as also in other fields, we are really aiming at having experienced women in the green hydrogen space, supporting women that are at earlier career stages. And yeah, there's a really dedicated team within Women in Green Hydrogen organizing and matching these mentee and mentor couples. And now already above 500 mentor-mentee couples could have been matched or were matched within the last few years from over 50 countries. And I think that's also really an amazing achievement and speaks for the mission of Women in Green Hydrogen as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see that mentoring taking place, and in terms of obviously sharing experiences, but also helping develop the industry itself, actually, in terms of cross sharing the knowledge and experience. And certainly having been to a number of your events and listened to the panelists and listened to some of the conversations is certainly a really valuable source. And I would urge people attending next week to come along and attend your event, because it certainly opened my eyes, and certainly to some of the hopefully historical experiences of women within the energy sector, but also looking at the really sort of positive contribution in terms of having fully diverse teams and trying to accelerate the industry in a positive and sustainable way indeed. So yeah, many thanks, Kathrin. Been great to catch up, great to chat, and as I mentioned, we want to see as many of your colleagues there next week at World Hydrogen Week.
Yes, that would be amazing. And really feel free to stop by our networking event. We are happy to partner again with your conference. And I'm looking forward to, discussing and networking, exchanging ideas with other hydrogen enthusiasts. Thank you so much for having me.